you want a lot of the people to say, no, that's too expensive. Because no one ever says that, you're definitely not charging enough. So I think it just comes down to charging more and freeing up that time to figure out how to do things the right way. So I got started in the fitness industry in 1994. I was going to school and just became obsessed with training, and so I started interning in the weight room and then started training people. Well, I got my certification second semester of, I guess it would have been sophomore year, and then started training people that spring and summer. And by the end of summer, somehow I was on pace to make, it sounds crazy, but I was on pace already to make 6 figures when I was 19. So that was basically how I got started, was just, just jumping right in, and got a lot of word of mouth referrals. And it didn't seem like, in 1994, it didn't seem like personal training and fitness was the thing it is right now, So I think what I was doing at the time was unique, because I think so many people were still just going to Golds or Balis. And I was, from the get-go, for whatever reason, I was into like the old school stuff and strongman stuff. I was fortunate enough to find that stuff, so it was kind of unique. So I think that's why we were able to grow the business so quickly at the beginning.
What brought you to build the online from the gym? Like, what got you the idea to go online rather than going harder in the gym world?
I first decided to go online after I'd been training people for probably about 10 years. And, at that point, most people in the fitness industry are burnt. You've been working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and you're just absolutely fried. And then you realize no matter how many people you can serve and help in the gym, it's never going to compare to online, because the most people I ever worked with in a day was probably 70, and that was doing groups of 6, 10, 12, and that's a lot. You're still destroyed at the end of the day, you're wiped out. But, you could post a workout online and reach 70,000 people or 700,000 people. So I kind of had that idea, and so I think it was 2001 I started writing, and then I decided to start selling stuff in 2003, and nobody was really doing it. So I said, all right, let me try to just put together a little, self-publish a little ebook, and have I think it was a 90-day workout at the time, and I sold it for $9.99. And it wasn't really doing anything. It was making me a few $100 a month, but at that time that was great. It was helping pay for food or whatever. And then Men's Fitness did a 1-page feature on me. And now you wouldn't have the same impact today, but they put, pictures of me, talked about my ebook, and a link to it. And then so I go from making $300 a month on this to $300 a day. And I was like, oh my God, $300 a day, that's 6 figures. This is crazy. This is like, there's quite a big potential here. So let me really figure this out now. It can't be an afterthought. Like, it's not just an ebook with a link. Now let me figure out, sales copy and conversions and how to do this right. So that journey was me trying to figure it out on my own, reading, studying, going to seminars, all that kind of stuff. And then Craig Ballantyne saying, hey, I figured this out now. Craig had hired Tom Venuto, who was, one of the original guys making a ton of money online. So here's what Tom taught me. So combined with, what Craig and I had studied and learned on our own, with what he had paid Tom, Craig taught me some stuff. And then we relaunched something in 2006, and I made 25 grand in 3 days. And to me, that was mind-blowing at the time. So that was like my second aha moment, where I was like, wow, okay, now I really see the potential. Now let me even go harder on the online stuff. And I'm still training people in the gym during all that time. And I think, like a lot of people, I was trying to balance it, and then eventually you have to pick one or the other, at least to go more all in on. So then, at first it was gym, and the online stuff was here. Then it kind of got evened out. And then, 12, 13 years into it, I'm burnt, and I'm like, man, I have so much more potential. So then I shifted with the gym. I spent less hours in the gym, started transitioning out, and put more focus just into online and everything that goes into that.
I love it. What happened for you to like pull the pin on the gym and go 100% online? Like, what was that process for you?
That was, I think it was just the success started to snowball. And then, all the feedback from all the people, I'm saying, wow, I'm able to impact and reach so many more people and help more people transform their lives, their bodies, whatever it might be. And then again, honestly, it was just a lot of the burnout too, and wanting a different lifestyle. Like I'm all about, hustle, grind, but like, you gotta have a life too. You gotta have some balance. You gotta have relationships and fun and a social life. So I had sacrificed a lot of my 20s and my early 30s, and I was like, man, I can't do this forever. So I wanted to, all those things came into play. And then I also wanted to move. And a lot of that was for the weather and just being in California, and I couldn't do another winter, but I wanted to give myself a chance to reinvent myself too. So I had to move. And so I moved to Cali, and that was I tried to run the gym across country for the first 2 years, I believe, with my brother at the helm, and it just wasn't working. So I finally just sold it to him, and then it just went all in on the online stuff. I mean, of course, I'm still in front of people a lot with events and whatnot. I'm not doing the day-to-day grind at the gym anymore. Yeah.
What do you want to say to, there's going to be so many personal trainers, gym owners, the whole thing, they're going to watch this right now, and they're going through exactly that right now. What would you want to say to them to get them to realize that they can get out of it? Because so many of them feel like they're trapped. How do you help them feel untrapped?
Like, you mean to get them to start an online thing, or
get them just to do anything, just to make a change? Do you know what I mean? There was probably 4 gym owners I've talked to in the last day. All of them were like, what would you want to say to them?
Yeah. So for somebody who's in the fitness industry and is in that day-to-day grind right now, training a lot of people, I mean, there's so many things I would say, but the first thing is you have to do something. I think so many people are just like, oh, this sucks, I'm overwhelmed. But then 5 years later, you're still doing that. So you got to decide and take action and pull the trigger on something. And a lot of that is going to come down to you saying no to clients and freeing up some time. Like, if you're just grinding 12 hours a day, there's no time to think, there's no time to formulate that plan, there's no time to start transitioning to something else. So you got to start maybe saying, okay, now I don't take clients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 till 4. And now you start your side hustle, or you start your online stuff, or you just formulate a different plan. Because a lot of us start out and we don't really know business. We just know training and biomechanics and nutrition and all that. And we think that's enough. And then maybe build a successful business and you're like, dude, I haven't set this up right from the beginning, which was my thing. Like, I just got into training, and then all of a sudden 10 years in, I'm like, oh my God, I'm working 18 hours a day and it's successful, but I didn't set any of this up right from the beginning. So I needed to start blocking off some time and then hiring coaches and reading stuff like, okay, now how do I put systems in play? How can I charge more? A lot of people, it just comes down to, like, if you just charge more, everyone's scared to charge more, but there's almost never a time that I've ever coached someone where I said, just start charging 25, 50% more, 100% more, where they didn't make money. And a lot of times you're like, well, I'm going to lose a bunch of people. That's probably good. Do you want to keep working 14 hours a day forever? You want to lose some people, so you go from 14 hours to 8 hours, but you're making way more money. Some people a lot of people who are still doing one-on-one, and there's a time and place to do one-on-one when it's maybe the right thing. Like, if you live here in Hollywood and people want to pay you $500 an hour, they don't want to share that time. That's okay. But if you're charging $60 an hour and doing one-on-one, talk to your clients, be like, hey, can I train you at the same time as Sally? We're going to start doing this, and start getting into 2-on-1, 3-on-1. New people tomorrow, add 50%. Like, a price that you're uncomfortable. Like, if you're charging $100 now, someone calls tomorrow, say it's $150. You want a lot of the people to say, no, that's too expensive. Because no one ever says that. You're definitely not charging enough. So I think it just comes down to charging more and freeing up that time to figure out how to do things the right way,
Jay, that's sick advice. Okay, epic. Share a story with me when it got hard.
So it got hard for me about 10 years into it. Like I said, business is really successful. I'm there 10, 12 hours a day, and I was loving it. Like, I was getting burnt out, but I was still loving it. Like, doing what I wanted to do. And our building was being sold, and everyone in that building, all the tenants had I think 6 months or something to get out, because the new owners were going to do something completely different. So we had to go, the yoga studio had to go, everybody had to kind of find a new place. And in Jersey, where I was at the time, to do what we did, you had to get a recreational use variance, and it was a bit of a pain in the ass. You had to get a lawyer and stuff like that. So I searched and searched and searched, couldn't find a spot. And so the 6 months came, and I had to shut down temporarily. And so I had tears in my eyes telling a lot of my clients that I've been with for 3 to 10 years, hey, we're shutting down, I don't know what we're gonna do. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was like, this is all I've ever done. Like a lot of things in life, the hard time was kind of a silver lining, because that gave me the time that I had said earlier that you need to force yourself to have. That gave me the time to step away from the gym to say, well, what else can I do? How do I do this? And it was during that time period that I really focused on the online stuff. So, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, but it was tough at the time.
Was there ever a time that you nearly stopped?
There was never really a time that I can remember that I nearly stopped. There's been a lot of times where I probably was like, I just don't know what to do. I was frustrated. I was confused. I probably should have hired coaches sooner. So I for a long time, I just had this thing where I had to do it all on my own and figure it all out on my own. And that drove me insane. And so there's a lot of times when it was hard. I never really thought about giving up.
No, that's really good. What would you say, I think it's a great point. And because I know I'm swimming in that, the confusion of there's so many things I could do, there's so many things I should be doing and I'm not doing. What do you want to say to that coach that is in that right now? What should they do? Yeah,
I mean, if you're overwhelmed and you're confused and you don't know what to do, I get it. I mean, we all go through that, but having gone through that myself and having experienced that, I would say, knowing what I know now, I would say you have to pick something. You have to make a decision, because that is the worst kind of purgatory and suffering, is just to be sitting there for days, weeks, and months going, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? You just have to pick pretend you're the president. And everybody comes to you and is like, hey, we need to make this decision. You don't have months and weeks, you have an hour. So make a decision and then never look back. And that's what successful people do. Some of the smartest people, some of the most artistic people will suffer with that forever, because they can analyze and see the positives and negatives of both. So you have to pick something. And again, it comes back to, I think a lot of times, having a coach to just tell you that. I think a lot of people they hire coaches for fitness or nutrition or something like that. Sometimes you just need to hire a coach for business to tell you this is what to do. Even if it's one of these three options, if you just pay someone who says it's option B, you're going to do it, So I think that's probably the smartest thing, is just hire someone.
If we can peel this onion more, because personally, one thing that I've learned so much from you is to stop being indecisive. How do you help someone to become decisive in their life? Have you subscribed? If not, this is the best time for you to subscribe, whether you're on the YouTube or on the podcast. Why? Because it would be a bummer if you missed out on everything that's to come, or don't subscribe if you're not actually getting much value out of this, because there is a zillion other things that you could be doing. So I'd rather you go and do that. The ball's in your court.
So if you're indecisive, and I was indecisive for years, I think the way we grew up, I was in fear a lot. I was in fear of so many things. So that when it came to making decisions, I was scared of that, because I was like, what if I make the wrong decision? This is going to be horrific. The world's going to end. I'm going to be broke and homeless, So you just have to have that awareness, right? Okay, I suck at making decisions. Just like if I sucked at squatting, or I sucked at basketball, playing the guitar. Okay, now what are the steps to get better? And force yourself every day. So it comes to small decisions. Pick where you're going to go eat faster. Instead of looking through 800 places on Yelp, just decide. When you get to the restaurant, maybe give yourself 2 minutes to decide. Small things, and then over time, that makes it easier to make bigger decisions. If there's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, that's a big decision. It doesn't mean you should spend 4 months making it. You still have to make the decision, and then you can course correct as you go. And also, the success and the confidence comes when you do that more often, because you're like, oh, it's not that bad anyway. Even if it does fail, it's never as bad as you imagine it to be,
Yeah, God, that's good advice. Yeah, okay. All right, what's the best part of your life now? It's blow the minds of everyone watching right now. Do you know what I mean? What is it that you love from the hard work, the grit that you've put in? Do you mean the endurance that you've gone through as well? What's the best part of everything? What's the return of the elixir of Jay Ferrugia?
Yeah, the best part of my life now, quite honestly, is, it's great that we get to live on the beach, and it's great that I love where I live, and I get to do so many cool things. I get to go to the Comedy Store all the time, and I get to go backstage to concerts and wrestling and sports, but really it's the people that I get to spend the time with that I can't believe. I tear up almost on a daily basis when I think about my closest friends and who I'm with, and on any weekly basis when I look at who I'm with and what I'm doing, it's like this is fantasy camp. This is amazing. I actually said that to Mary when we were at a show recently. I was like, I can't believe this is my life. And I was with Tony Blauer recently, and he said the same thing. He's like, this life we have is insane. And that's really cool. Like, we were just driving down the PCH on a Tuesday, just taking off work, and I had the ability to do that. So when not only a friend, but someone who's an amazing human being, someone I'm a fan of, someone who is the best in the world at what they do, they call me and say, hey, you want to take off work and go hiking? The fact that I can do that and spend time with those people, like, that's the best thing. That's amazing. And I think, gratitude, hashtag gratitude is like a trendy thing these days. And for a while I was like, that's stupid. Because I know a lot of people are just doing it as a gimmick and they're not really feeling it. It took me, honestly, until probably 6 months ago, 2019, to really feel what that is. When now, each day I am really overwhelmed with gratitude when I get up and think about those people and the experiences and where we live and all those things, and it gives me goosebumps and it brings tears to my eyes now. So now I genuinely feel gratitude, and I don't know how you can get there overnight. I don't know that there's an easy step. Like, I can't tell someone, hey, read this book. I think it's a lot of books, practices, who you're with, what you do, your mindset, your self-awareness. But over time, if you can get to that state, like, it's an amazing thing. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Dude, I love that. That's sick. What do you want coaches and trainers to do today? What's your advice for them to build a better business, build a better life, have better people around them? What's their advice that you've got for them?
I think what I would say to coaches and trainers today, to take action on something is decide what you want your future to look like. Start moving in that direction. Again, no deliberating, no asking for opinions. But yeah, so what I want them to do is focus on what's really important, and you have to decide what's important to you. Is it, making a certain amount of money? Is it contributing to this cause? I think when you have a goal and a clear destination, it makes it a lot easier, and it makes your decisions easier to make. Like, if every decision is based on, hey, here's my goal, here's how I'm getting there. So clarity on that. And then I think a lot of people in the fitness industry, and I don't want to offend anybody because I've been in the fitness industry, a lot of us get into it for reasons, not necessarily selfish reasons, but I got into it. I know so many people that got into it because we were skinny, insecure, we were maybe made fun of, beaten up, bullied or whatnot. And so to really take your career to the next level, your business, your happiness, you have to address that at some point. Like, just putting on a ton of muscle and strength helps, you're more confident, but you have to address what's in your head and what's in your heart, and you have to do the deep work. And honestly, we'll say, oh, well, I just want to get Tim Ferriss's new business book, or this new business book, or that new self-development book, and that's great, but you have to work, or that new personal training book, I should say, but you have to work on your personal development. That's going to grow your business. That's going to grow your relationships. That's going to make you happier. So I think, and honestly, it sounds crazy right now, but I went 35 years without even thinking about personal development. Like, I'm 45 now. So the last 10 years have been a real journey of doing the deep work. And you have to do the deep work on yourself, and then everything else does improve for sure.
Fucking mic drop. That's perfect. Done. Wrap.
Cool.
Brother.
Thanks, man.
That was perfect. How good is that?
If you've enjoyed this episode and it's vibed with you, then make sure that you hit subscribe, whether you're on the YouTube or on the podcast. And importantly, if there is any guests that you want me to have on the show, or specific questions or topics that you want me to be able to cover for you, simply put it into the YouTube comments or send me an Instagram DM. That way I can make sure you're getting the most out of actually being here.